She said, "I was just stressing," but the weekend getaway she took with him told the truth. I had never been the type to check her phone or pry in her business. We'd been together for almost 3 years, and I always trusted Clara. I was proud of the fact that we had a solid, easygoing relationship, one built on trust, communication, and mutual respect. We didn't fight often, and when we did, it was usually something minor. A disagreement about where to eat or whose turn it was to do the dishes. Nothing major. But that Friday, everything changed. It started when I noticed something off in her behavior. She'd been distant, cold even, for the past week. She kept telling me she was just stressed, that work had been tough, and she needed some time to unwind. I understood. Work was draining for both of us, but this felt different. She didn't want to hang out with me the way she usually did. No more movie nights, no more cuddling on the couch. She'd make excuses to avoid being alone with me, and I could feel myself slipping further and further into the back seat of her life. It didn't help that she kept canceling plans, saying she was too tired or had to go to bed early. But what really set me off was the weekend she took away with him. It was a Sunday night when I came home early from work. I was expecting to surprise Clara with dinner. Her favorite takeout from that little Thai place down the street, the one we bent on our first date. The smell of food hit me as soon as I walked through the door, and I was half expecting her to be sitting at the table, waiting for me. But when I walked into the living room, my heart stopped. On the coffee table was a stack of photos, and I knew right away something wasn't right. I had seen this before. The photos were from a weekend getaway Clara had told me she was going on, but she had mentioned it in passing like it wasn't a big deal. "I'm just going to get away for a couple of days. I'll be back Sunday night. Don't worry about me," she'd said. I didn't question her. She deserved some time for herself. We all did. But the photos, I felt my stomach twist as I picked them up one by one. There she was, smiling, no, beaming, sitting on a beach, her arm draped over the shoulder of a man I didn't recognize. My hand shook as I turned over the photo, hoping to see that it was just some old picture from a family trip or a friend's outing. But no, the date on the back was from that same weekend. She'd told me she was going away by herself to recharge, but there she was in a bikini, laughing with another guy, his face just a little too close to hers. The next photo was at a restaurant, the two of them sharing a bottle of wine, his hand casually resting on her leg under the table. My heart pounded in my chest as I stared at the pictures, trying to make sense of what I was seeing. The reality of it hit me slowly, too slowly, like a punch to the gut that I couldn't fully absorb. I thought about the text she'd sent me that weekend. "I'm so tired, babe. I'll be home soon. Can't wait to see you." How had I been so naive? She hadn't been stressed about work like she'd told me. She'd been hiding something from me. I let out a shaky breath and dropped the photos back on the table. My head was spinning. I knew I had to confront her, but I didn't know how. She would lie, I knew that. She always had a reason for everything. Maybe it wasn't what it seemed. Maybe it was just a misunderstanding, a harmless vacation with a friend. But deep down, I couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't just stress or miscommunication. I heard the sound of her car pulling into the driveway. My pulse quickened. It wasn't even about being angry anymore. It was about the hurt. It was about the trust that had been shattered in a single moment. I had never expected something like this. I had never expected her to be capable of hiding something so huge. She stepped inside, holding a bag of groceries, and for a split second, I thought I could pretend everything was normal. But the moment she looked up and saw the photos on the table, her face went pale. She froze, clutching the bag like it was a lifeline. "Jake!" Her voice trembled, and I could hear the panic rising. "I saw the pictures," I said, my voice flat, almost devoid of any emotion. I wasn't sure how I was supposed to feel right now. Angry? Hurt? Betrayed? All of them, probably. I saw the weekend getaway. With him. Her eyes darted from the photos to me, then back to the table. "Jake, No." I cut her off, standing up, my hands clenched in a fist at my sides. "You said you needed space. That it was just stress. That you were going to be alone for the weekend. And now I find this. What am I supposed to think, Clara? What am I supposed to believe?" She lowered her gaze, her lips trembling. She opened her mouth to speak, but nothing came out. I could see the guilt in her eyes, the hesitation. She didn't know how to explain herself because there was no explanation that would make sense. I didn't want you to find out like this, she said, her voice shaky. She took a step toward me, then stopped. Jake, please, it's not what you think. I needed some time to clear my head, and I didn't know how to handle it. I never meant to hurt you. I swear. Then why the hell didn't you just tell me the truth? Why didn't you tell me you were seeing someone else? I almost spat the words out, the anger finally surfacing. She flinched. It's not like that. It's complicated, okay? I never planned for any of this to happen. I don't know. I've been so lost lately, and he was there for me. I felt like I was suffocating. The walls of our home, our life, felt like they were closing in around me. So what now? Is this it? Is this the end? I don't know, Clara whispered. I never meant for things to go this far. I want to come back to you. I thought I needed space, but I don't know anymore. I wasn't thinking. Her voice cracked at the end, and I saw the tears welling up in her eyes, but it didn't change anything. The damage was done. The pictures weren't a mistake. The lies weren't an accident. They were real, and she had chosen him over me. I stood there, feeling numb. All of a sudden, all the reasons I believed in, all the things I thought we had seemed so empty. She wasn't the person I thought she was. And maybe I wasn't the person I thought I was, either, for not seeing the signs sooner. I don't know if I can do this anymore, Clara, I said, my voice quiet but firm. She stepped forward, her hands shaking, but I couldn't let her touch me. Not like that. Not after everything. I'm sorry, Jake, she whispered, her voice breaking. I am. I don't know how to fix this. I didn't know how to fix it either. I didn't know what to do or what to say. So instead, I just walked away, leaving the photos and her behind. I didn't know if we'd ever talk again or if I could ever trust her again. But I knew one thing. I couldn't keep pretending. The truth had come crashing in, and there was no going back. Part 2. The next few days were a blur. My mind was constantly spinning, but I didn't want to talk to anyone. I didn't even want to leave the house. I stayed in bed, not really sleeping, but not exactly awake either. I just existed. My phone sat on a nightstand, screen facing down, as if I couldn't bear the idea of looking at it and seeing messages I wasn't ready to read. Clara didn't reach out, and I didn't expect her to. The truth was out there now, plain as day. Whatever excuses or explanations she might have come up with had already been invalidated by the photos. I had no interest in hearing more lies. I couldn't stomach the idea of her giving me some half-baked apology just to make herself feel better. It was a Wednesday when I finally picked up my phone. I had managed to ignore it for 2 days straight, but curiosity got the best of me. The only person who had messaged me was my sister, Emma. She was one of the few people I felt comfortable talking to about everything, and she was always quick to check in when things weren't right. The message was simple. I'm coming over. We need to talk. You're not okay. I was surprised, but at the same time, I felt a weird sense of relief. Emma was one of those people who didn't sugarcoat things. She was blunt, but she was also my rock, the one person who always had my back. I didn't have to pretend with her. So, I replied, come over whenever. I'm not sure what to say, but I need you. She arrived around 4 p.m. The knock on the door was quick, firm. Like she knew I wouldn't answer unless she came in with some sense of urgency. When I opened it, she didn't wait for an invitation. She stepped right in, her face set in that way that made it clear she already knew more than I was ready to admit. She didn't say anything at first. Instead, she just gave me a long hug, a tight squeeze that somehow made me feel a little less like I was drowning. It had been a while since I'd felt any kind of real affection, and it almost made me break down then and there. You okay? She finally asked, pulling back to look me in the eye. She was always the straight shooter, the one who cut through the bullshit. I wanted to say I was fine, but the words wouldn't come. No, I whispered. I'm not okay. Clara, she asked, sitting on the couch and motioning for me to join her. I slowly sank down next to her, feeling the weight of my body crash into the cushions as I stared at the floor. Yeah, I said. She's been seeing someone else. I found pictures of her with him. They went away together for the weekend. Emma's eyes widened, but she didn't say anything right away. She just nodded, listening, giving me space to speak without interrupting. I appreciated that. I stopped, trying to find the words. I feel stupid, Em. I don't know how I didn't see it. I don't know why I didn't question her more or pay attention to the signs. She told me she was just stressed, and I believed her. I thought everything was fine. I ran a hand over my face, the reality of the situation still weighing on me. I trusted her, and now I'm sitting here wondering how the hell I ended up in this mess. Emma's expression softened, and she put a hand on my shoulder. Jake, you're not stupid. You were just being you. You were trusting her the way you should have been able to, and you took her word when she said everything was okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, but now I feel like an idiot, I muttered. She was lying to me the whole time. And I don't even know if I can forgive her for that. I don't even know if I want to forgive her. I could feel the frustration building again, and I was fighting to keep it under control. The tears that had been threatening for days finally started to break free. I tried to hold them back, but Emma's hand on my back was like a dam that broke. I never thought she'd do this to me. I thought we were in it together, that she'd never be that kind of person, you know, the one who cheats. I thought we were better than that. You are, Emma said quietly. Just because she made a choice doesn't mean it reflects on you. But I get it, Jake. You feel betrayed, and that's okay. You've been deceived. That's what hurts the most. The lies. The feeling that everything you thought you knew was just shattered. I nodded, my throat tight. I don't know if I can move past this, Em. I don't know if I can look at her the same way again. I can't just pretend it's all okay. I'm not telling you to forgive her right now, Emma said firmly. But you will have to make a decision. You'll have to decide whether you want to fight for her or if you're better off walking away. But that's not something you have to figure out today. I sat there for a long time, feeling the weight of her words settle in. It was true. I didn't have to make any immediate decisions. But the idea of fighting for someone who had already checked out of the relationship was daunting. I didn't even know if Clara would want to fight for me, or if I could ever look at her the same way again. Just then, my phone buzzed on the table. It was a message from Clara. Can we talk? I know I've messed up, but I'm still here, Jake. I want to make things right. I stared at the screen for a long time, the words swimming in my vision. She wanted to talk. She wanted to make it right. But part of me wondered if it was even possible anymore. Could I get over the lies? Could I go back to the person I thought I knew? And more importantly, did I even want to? Should I respond? I asked Emma, my voice small. Emma looked at me thoughtfully before answering. You don't owe her anything, Jake. But if you do decide to talk to her, make sure it's on your terms. You don't have to fix everything in one conversation. You just have to decide if you're ready for that. I stared at the phone, unsure of what to do. The truth was, I wasn't sure I was ready. But I knew one thing. I couldn't pretend that everything was fine anymore. Not after what I had seen, and not after what Clara had done. Taking a deep breath, I finally responded. I'm not sure I can do this anymore, Clara. We'll talk soon. I hit send before I could think better of it. My heart was pounding in my chest, and I wasn't sure what came next. But for the first time in days, I felt like I had taken control of the situation, like I was making a decision for myself instead of just reacting to what Clara had thrown at me. I'll figure it out, I whispered, more to myself than to Emma. I just need time. And maybe that was true. Maybe time would help me see what the next step was. Maybe I could rebuild. Or maybe, just maybe, I needed to let go and start fresh. But either way, I wasn't going to make the same mistakes again. Not when it came to my own heart. For the first time in a while, I felt like I might have a chance at moving forward, even if it was only one small step at a time.